Hello and welcome to Manifesting Monday. I am Jean Berry and I invite you to manifest with me. Today, we're going to dive into the second part of a leap. And the leap is part of the manifesting matrix that was downloaded to me over this summer. It is the full-on manifesting math construct that allows us to actually get super, super clear about what our lane is. And today's leap is in learning. And this one can be really super, super tricky because as heart-centered entrepreneurs, I have found that a lot of times there is a desire for perhaps having more credentials so that we look more real and not so spiritual or woo or feminine, that we get this really linear degrees and certificates and that kind of thing. And sometimes that's exactly what is needed. And yet other times I have seen it being used as a way to delay actually doing the thing in the world that you're going to do. So that's the thinking part of today, is what is the motivation of learning something new? And I want you to find the exact portal for you for manifesting that's your entry, not the space that someone else says, well, why don't you go learn more about that? Or why don't you go deeper into that? And then I also have some friends who just love to learn. And so they're always going to go and learn more and more and more just because they love learning new things. It's their connection to God, right? Is how we access that beautiful inspiration and the muse is through learning. So this is in a leap. Yet last week we did awareness. My little doggy really so wants to get up on the chair with me. Come on. Come on. You gonna get up with me? Come on, Raswell. There she comes. She's gonna come sit with me. There we go. Can you give your face to the? There we go. All right, we can continue now because we've had a little razzle love. I feel like I'm sitting up against my furry dog now, because I am. All right. Resetting. Everyone take a breath with me. Because sometimes we all just need some doggy love. Oh, she's moving around to the other side now. There we go. We're all getting comfortable. You're so funny. Manifesting with doggy love. There we go. So we're going to dive right back into a leap. So this is the bottom part of the manifesting matrix. It's A-L-E-A-P, a leap. Last week, we talked about awareness and how sometimes the biggest ahas come when we didn't even know what we didn't know. It's the things that come through, and I told the story about how I was completely cut off from my creativity and I didn't even know it. I didn't know that that was the thing that was leaving me feel so unfulfilled. And so at that moment in time, I could see that my entry point was in body, like in the actual physicalness of me, and the door of awareness. So once you've walked through the door of awareness and you're like, ah, that's it, aha, right, aha. The next one is L, which is learn. And now I've gone on this whole diatribe about don't get stuck in learn. But learn sometimes is exactly where you need to be. When I had that big breakthrough about, creativity is so lost, I actually needed at that moment not just to go take an art class, I needed to go to art school. And it was a missing trajectory that didn't happen when I left high school. So I was 38 years old and I was like, I need to go to art school. I had 2 little kids at home. I pulled up my computer at the time and I'm like, well, where are the art schools? There was only one in Minneapolis where I lived. And so I went online to find out, well, how do I get admitted into art school? And I decided at the time to go they had a program for furniture design. Um, and it's kind of funny because at that time it was still attached to this worthiness piece, and that looked to me like how I could actually make a living because it was a tangible thing. It's working art, right? Furniture is working art. And that's a whole nother story about how I didn't stay in furniture design. I so loved it. I have to tell you, it was so much fun. But there's this whole thing about North Carolina is where all the furniture is made in the United States. And I didn't live there. So that was A. And B, I didn't have a big workshop at home. So when I was leaving school of their huge workshop there, I was like, oh, wait, I have a challenge. Now there's something else to learn. And that's when I actually started painting, which is really funny. So I took a painting class in art school. I nearly failed it, which was really super funny. And when I left art school, I went to open studio at the community art center, and I just slopped paint on the canvas until I figured out what to do with it. Now, I had a whole arts basis, and ultimately that is what I got. That's what I learned at art school. What I learned at art school is why I do my art. And secondly, what its place is in history, why art is so important to the world. And that groundedness of understanding that creativity is what we are, and you can be nothing but it, regardless of what you're outputting. It doesn't have to be fine art to be a creator. And so that's what I learned in art school. And so if you are in the learning space, the learning portal, perhaps there's something to learn like I had about vocation, like something really like, how does this work? How does this fit in the world? But perhaps there's something to learn about the energy about it. Perhaps you have some ancestral energy that you want to learn about, and you're going to dive into that. Or perhaps there's something that's physically manifested in your body that you want to learn about that in your portal. What is there to learn? And so to discover if this is your portal is if you sit with it and take a breath and out. Here we are. And you say, what is there to learn about this new awareness or aha I have? And let it pour in. Sometimes learning comes from your best friend. And sometimes it comes from someone who really, really annoys you. Oh, don't you hate that part? And yet it makes me think of a dear friend of mine who was actually very bullied at work. It was actually to the point where she's like, I have to quit this job. I can't stay. And we actually contrived of a plan to send blessings and peace to her boss. And this went on for about 2 weeks. Every morning she'd take the bus to work and she would blessings and peace. And honestly, she did not want to send them to him. He was not a nice man. She grit her teeth and, I don't like that. I don't like him. I don't want to send him any love at all. And it wasn't about love. It was about blessings. Let whatever blessings are pouring upon them, pour upon them. And peace, that they may have peace in their heart and their lives. And a few things happen inside of that. Right? Sometimes there's something, and so what was to learn ultimately is the day that she walked in and he started in, on his diatribe about how to, making her cry, because that's what happened most days in her work. And yet on this one particular day when she walked in and her own heart was in peace, she suddenly knew that he was not the problem. And when he stopped talking, she just said, "Are you finished?" He got very flustered because she was not crying. There's sometimes something to learn in your own heart. What is there to learn? And that kind of learning often comes from habit or patterns. And so the learning that you do through habits or patterns are the ones that you install. And this time of year is an incredible time to think about it, because a lot of people think about resolutions. I don't like resolutions because they tend to be kind of goal-like. And what I find way more useful is to say, well, what habit or pattern am I going to add to my world? And add something instead of let go of something. And so when you add a practice, especially like a blessings and peace practice, it doesn't take much time at all. You simply find something else to add it to. Maybe you add it to brushing your teeth. My friend added it to riding the bus. What are you going to add? And so this is the one thing, instead of a resolution this year, or if you've already set them, that's okay. But I want to know, what are you going to add? And from that, the learning that comes out of that will be exponential. Other times learning is calling in a friend. It is taking a formal class. Sometimes that is what's called for. And sometimes what's called for is meditation. Of course, if we're talking about adding cool and interesting habits, we're going to talk once more again today about the angels, peacocks, and butterfly game. And we're going to play today because we're going to use it specifically on learning something. So let's go ahead and take a breath in. Get super grounded in our space. I'm so glad that you're hanging with me this far to talk about manifesting, because there's some really cool nuances in this a leap matrix that'll allow you to see manifesting in a different way. So A is awareness. L is what is there to learn. So let's take a breath in and out. Feel your toes on the ground. Feel all the way connected to Mother Earth. Let Mother Earth pour love back up through your feet, up through your knees, up through your hips, right to your heart. Whoo, and expand it, and it just flows right out from there. And it continues to flow not only around you, but up, all the way up, 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 up to your higher self. And then your higher self combines that love, multiplies it by hundreds of times, and then flows it right back down, all the way into the earth through your feet, back to Mother Earth, giving her the love back, and then you all start it again, flowing up and out and around you, being in love, being in light, being in your highest and best self. And so from here we're going to ask, what do we want to learn? Whoops, knock that over. I'm going to grab the angel deck first. We're going to sort this out and shuffle it up and see what pops out for all y'all and for me today. Like, we all get something fabulous out of this when we play together. When we play together, something beautiful shows up always. And this is the magic of the randomness of play. I talked about that a little bit last week, about the randomness. Whew. Ha, here we go. It's fabulous that we would pull a card like this. Wisdom. I am wisdom. And of course, this is, what do we need to learn? When we are wisdom, we're going to learn something different than when we don't hang out in that space. Let's grab our butterfly deck and see if we can pinpoint. If you're in business for yourself, these cards are specifically about business areas. And if you don't have your own business, it also includes the chakra. And so, ooh, this one came flying out. So the chakra is going to tell us what area maybe the learning is going to happen. Oh, this is a good one too. If you are in business, the sales process can be one of the most difficult things that you pick up, especially if you're a heart-centered entrepreneur. And this is chakra 5, throat chakra. This is about expressing yourself authentically and clearly. What is there to learn about chakra 5 and expressing yourself, and perhaps even your sales process? Then finally, let's pull out our peacock deck, shuffle that up, see what there is to learn about this. Whew. All right, this came right out. Communicating. Naturally. This is a cohesive message for us today that actually seems incredibly specific. So if you are watching all the way to this point, I hope that you are getting the importance of this message for you today. So inside of the game, there is this fabulous little journal card, and I'm going to read you the sentence that has been created about the 3 cards that we just drew. And I would like you, from this fabulously grounded, light, heart-centered space, whatever pops in your head as the end of this sentence is the right answer. I am wisdom in my Chakra 5 sales process. Therefore, I am communicating. I am wisdom in my sales process, Chakra 5. Therefore, I am communicating. And all that pours over me right now is love. Therefore, I am communicating love. Is there something to learn about communicating love? I totally feel it. A lot of the marketing and sales that is taught is not necessarily so loving, and it doesn't feel, it feels manipulative and pressuring and all that kind of thing. And so I would love for you to see what there is to learn about being authentically you inside of your communication, whether that's in your business for sales process or whether that's for your lover or your kids or your friends. How are you communicating? What is there to learn? What's going to shift for 2025 for you? What little habit will you pick up? I hope you'll pick up the habit of playing a little game called Angels, Peacocks, and Butterflies. If you do not own it yet, you can get it on Amazon, and the links are below. You can also buy it on my website. And I have tons of resources and videos for you to help you walk through, because not only do you do this, but you also decode bigger messages. And the constructs of this game allow you to actually step right into that. And there's a booklet inside, let me pull it out, that has tallies that allows you then to, every 25 days, do a decoding. It's really incredibly powerful and will change your world and up-level your manifesting, your trust in your intuition, and your ability to have the things come into your world faster. So that's what I got for you today. This is Manifesting Monday, taking a leap. What do you need to learn? Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you would like more, you can go to manifestingmath.com and sign up for notifications, and I will send you updates and any new stuff that's coming out, and as I release the new books this spring as well. Have a beautiful week. I will see you next week at 11:11 Pacific time, and I'd love to hear what you're learning. Have a great day.